It is already 10 to we'll start, Nida.
Okay, ma'am. Shall I start then, ma'am?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Okay, ma'am. One minute. A very warm good morning to all the participants. I cordially welcome you all to this day 3 of webinar on Entrepreneurship Development organized by Padma Shri Institute of Management and Sciences, Bengaluru. It is my pleasant duty to first introduce the resource person of today's first session, Mrs. Rajani Balaji. Mrs. Rajani Balaji has 21 years of work experience with 10 years in corporate and 11 years in academics. She started her career with Exim Soft Technologies and then joined the branding team with Shriram Properties and worked extensively in their rebranding activities. She then worked with Regalix, a digital marketing organization where she handled digital marketing for clients like CDC Germany, Keynote USA, and ITC India. The last 11 years, she is with Padma Shri Institute of Management and Sciences as the head of the Department of Commerce. She teaches marketing and communications to commerce and management students. Her passion lies in marketing on the wider spectrum and digital marketing specifically. We are glad to have you here with us today as the resource person, ma'am, and I request you to kindly deliver the talk. Rajani ma'am would be giving a talk on marketing management. Over to Rajani ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am, for the introduction. Good morning, everyone. I shall be sharing my screen. Ma'am, you'll have to allow me to share the screen. Good morning to all. It was quite a challenge when I was approached to teach marketing to science students. But then I remembered each one of us have been exposed to marketing at various levels throughout our lives. At the receiving end as consumers, each one of you have bought a Coke, a Pepsi, a pair of jeans, a pair of a mobile, a pair of glasses. So you have purchased laptops. So at some level, at least at the receiving end as a consumer, you have been exposed to marketing. You have been exposed to advertising, promotions, pricing, product, everything that is there. It's just that you've not seen it from the organization perspective. And I am here today to make you see it from the organization point of view. How do organizations get their customers, keep their customers, and make them happy and make them repeat customers? So that will be the theme of the webinar today. Having said that, that you have been exposed to marketing as a consumer, I also would like to, before I start, would like to tell you that you will be using marketing, or you have been using marketing in your lives. It can be to get the extra pocket money from your dad. It can be to get the extra internal marks from your teachers. It can be in future to get a job. You will be competing with other students who we have thousands of students graduating at the same time as you. So you will be competing with them for the same limited jobs that are there. So you will be marketing yourselves to the organizations or your dream organizations that you want to get into. After that, you will be competing with your colleagues to get a promotion, to get a better appraisal than them. And let's say if you start a business of your own, you have a lot of marketing to do that, right? So you will be using marketing even if you're not a marketing person. I usually tell HR people uses marketing. Production guys use marketing, even purchase guys use marketing. It's just not marketing guys, right? So marketing is very important for you, even if you do not choose it as a career path, because every functional areas people will be using, employees will be using marketing to get a better deal out of the situation they are in, right? So let's start with what's marketing. I will come back to this slide quite towards the end of the session again, because when you see this definition, it looks like Greek and Latin, right? But one thing I want you guys to remember is marketing is all about our customers, is all about our consumers, right? You must have heard of the terminology, the consumer is a king, right? Now, when the consumer is a king, we have to develop products keeping the king in mind. We have to develop products which the consumer wants, right? So the first and foremost thing about marketing is to understand, we do this through market research, is to understand the needs and wants of the customer, right? Or the consumer or the potential consumer. Once you understand the needs and wants of the potential consumer, you go back to your drawing board and you create an offering that will meet his needs, right? Once you have a beautiful product that meets the consumer's needs, your marketing is already a success, right? Because you don't have to do anything because you're giving the consumer what he wants. So this is the first step that every organization has to get right. Develop an offering that the consumer is looking forward to. You would say, ma'am, take any domain, organizations are already delivering, right? No, there will be a niche area. The consumers have certain specific need and that is not met. Okay, so you have to figure out where that gap exists and where the gap exists that the consumer's needs are not met. And you develop an offering that is valuable to the consumer, right? And when you have a product or service that is value to the consumer, your marketing is done, right? So that is marketing for you. Now we should try to understand. So let me put it on.
Sorry, ma'am, you can continue.
Ma'am, Rajani ma'am is in mute.
Rajani, ma'am? Hello.
Hello.
Ma'am, you are mute all this time.
I was on mute all this time. Okay, all right. I'm sorry. Was I mute throughout?
No, ma'am, just few seconds ago you were on
right?
mute.
Okay.
Just few seconds ago. You can continue, ma'am.
I can continue then. All right. So let's try to understand what can be marketed. As consumers, you've been exposed to only products, mostly, right? Or at least you would have noticed only products. That is your bottle, that is your laptop, that's your mobile, that's your car, that's your bike, that's your shirt, right? All those comes under goods category, right? Now, but there are more things that can actually be marketed, right? So when I buy a mobile phone, like Apple, or what do you call it? I don't know. I'm sorry. Let's say an Apple phone that you buy, that becomes a product or a good. Now, I cannot use that without actual services of Airtel, right? So services can also be marketed. Services is something that we do not hold in hand. It's not tangible, right? It can be the education that you're receiving. It's not tangible, right? But you are a consumer here. You are buying the product, right? And you're buying the service, right? So services can be marketed too. Experiences can be marketed. Well, let's say you guys go on a trip to Wonderla and you are spending 1,200. I think that's a going rate right now for Wonderla, 1 day trip. So you spend 1,200 and you come back home. What do you have? You have nothing but the experience of that day, right? So experiences are marketed too. Events, let's say there used to be Jagdeep Singh's Guzzles night or some rock show and stuff, right? So those are events that are marketed. Even people can be marketed. You know, KL Rahul, he, I don't know what's the going rate. I hear everybody, the IPL market is right now the hot seat, and everybody is getting paid 2 crores, 3 crores. How are they doing it? They're getting marketed by an agency, right? So people also get marketed. Places get marketed. I don't know if you guys have seen the advertisements of Kerala, God's own country, right? So what are they marketing there? When they are advertising, just they're showing beautiful sceneries of Kerala and they're putting an ad in God's own country. What are they doing there? They're marketing a place, basically for tourism or anything, any other purposes too. Like Haryana has marketed itself as location for organizations to set up factories. So you can market a place too. When Haryana did this they did this around 10, 15 years back. The entire they tried to develop SEZs and marketed the place so that organizations would come and open factories there. So the entire economy started moving up, right? So places can be marketed, properties can be marketed. Have you guys seen Intel Inside advertisement? You must have seen Intel Inside, right? Intel Inside. Now, has anybody actually gone out and bought a processor for their laptop? No, we don't do that because our laptops come with a processor. We do never purchase a processor, right? But Intel is a processor and the organization does marketing, Intel Inside. Now, when consumers are not buying it, why are they doing that advertisement? They are basically running those ads because they are marketing themselves as an organization, right? It can be for their shares, it can be for their employees, it can be for the customers, it can be for the suppliers, it can be for the buyers, but they are building themselves as an organization, as a brand, right? Informations are marketed today, right? When you buy a newspaper, you're buying information, right? So even that is marketed. Ideas can be marketed. I don't know if you know, Hotmail was started by a guy from Bangalore, and he just had this idea of email, okay? And he did not have the resources to develop that and make it big. So what he did was he took this idea and sold it to Bill Gates. So all he did was he sold an idea, right? So he marketed his idea. So a lot of things can be marketed than just products that are very visible, right? It's visible, so we think only products are marketed. No, a lot of things can be marketed, right? And I'll just touch upon who we can market, right? So where can we market? So you have consumer markets. Consumer markets are where the end consumer is buying for himself or his household. So when you buy salt, it's for yourself or your house. When you buy toothpaste, when you buy soap or shampoo or atta or Pepsi, you're buying for yourself or your own household or family, right? So that becomes consumer markets. So let's say I am buying laptop for my own use. So I'm a consumer, right? Let's say you develop, let's say you are working in Infosys, right? And Infosys is buying, let's say 50,000 laptops for its new hires, right? So they are buying a large number and it's an organization. They are not buying it for themselves, but they are buying it for their office purpose. So that becomes business markets. These are just concepts that I want you guys to know, right? Global markets is when we take our business global, beyond the borders of the nation, right? And we also sell, let's say I am selling the same laptop to a non-profit organization or to a government organization. The way I market differs. Let's say SBI is buying laptops or computers for their branch offices. And even there, they will be buying 50,000 for their, let's say, all the branches in Karnataka, right? So that becomes a government market. Let's say an NGO who's running an organization buys around 10 to 15 laptops for their offices, or they are donating it to a government school. So that becomes a non-profit market. Now, why do I have to understand where we market? It's very important that you guys understand whom I am selling to, right? Always see it from the company's angle. Who is my customer? If my customer is is a consumer, the way I market becomes different. If my market is a business person, a business organization like Infosys, the way I market becomes different. Because if I'm selling a laptop to a consumer, I'll be hiring Kareena Kapoor or Deepika Padukone for my advertisements, and I'll be putting ads in newspapers, right? And I'll be running ads on TV. But if I'm selling 50,000, here what happens? One consumer buys only one laptop, but I have like 1 lakh customers, individual customers. But when it comes to business markets, I'll be selling one organization 50,000 laptops. And these guys are not going to see Deepika Padukone's ad in newspaper and buy the laptop. They are going to have a different approach. You have to have a different approach to marketing. We call that personal selling. We will do this. We'll be covering those a little later. Government organizations, the way you market becomes different. They call for tender, and you have to give proposals, and there will be a bidding. So the way you market to each one of these segments differs, right? So you have to understand based on the market that I'm selling to, my marketing strategies has to change. Okay. So what's marketing management, right? It's as any definition goes, we have this process of planning. So you have to plan and execute, and then you have to check how your execution went, right? Now, what am I planning and executing? I am planning and executing what's my product, at what price am I selling, how am I going to promote my product or service, and how am I going to distribute it, right? And so I am very focused on planning and organizing and executing what product, at what price, how the promotion should be, how the distribution should be, right? Why am I doing all this? Remember the first, when I started out, I said, you're doing all this to keep the consumer happy, right? Unless until you satisfy the consumer, you will not succeed, right? So everything that you do in marketing is to satisfy a consumer, right? But we are a business organization, right? You cannot just satisfy a consumer. You have to also achieve your organizational goals. And that's mostly profits or market shares, right? So never by heart the definition. You can always create your own definition once you understand. So marketing management is all about keeping the consumer happy and achieving your organization goals at the end of it by planning and delivering the product, price, place, and promotion, right? If anybody wants to stop and ask me, that's also welcome, or we can keep the sessions question answers in the end. Now, just to cover a few basic marketing concepts. Now, what's a need? Now, these are very terms, needs and wants look same, right? But needs are very basic to human. It's very physiological or emotional or psychological, right? Now, let's say you're hungry, right? Let's say you're very hungry. What do you need? You need food, right? When you're hungry, you need food. That's need. Now, when you're hungry, you need food, but you want a burger, right? Now, you want a burger. Now, here, you're directing your need to a specific food item, right? When you're hungry, you just need food. That's need. But you want a burger, here you are needing a specific thing, all right? You're trying to satisfy your need with something specific that becomes a want, right? And when you buy a KFC burger and pay, when you want a KFC burger, right? Now here there is a company involved, right? And the company is not going to give it to you for free. So you have to pay for it. So when you have the want for a specific product and you have the ability to pay for it, that becomes a demand. So see the difference between need, want, and demand. Need is just food. Want is something specific like a burger. Demand is when you want a KFC burger and you're ready to pay 75 bucks for that, right? So need, want, and demand. So what's a product? Product is any offering. We'll cover this again. So product is any offering that is created by an organization to meet these needs and wants, right? As marketing guys, you will have to understand you'll be playing with needs and wants and demands, right? When you finish college and you're walking towards the bus stop, no, you're pretty hungry. You're slightly hungry, right? You're just slightly hungry. You're not really hungry. But there'll be a bakery there and you smell fresh baked bread, right? Just smells amazing, so fresh. And you'll get drawn towards the bakery. So what that guy actually is doing is marketing, right? He's playing with your need and he's creating a want, right? And he's making you come and demand. And most of the time, you guys never go there and buy a bread. You will end up eating puff or egg puff or something, right? So, and if you know, most of these bakeries never manufacture anything other than bread every day, and they bake it through the day in small batches because that's a smell that markets for them, right? So need, want, and demand. So what's a brand? A brand is when it's from a known source, all right? You have to know where it's coming from. Is it from KFC? Is it from McDonald's? Is it from any other local brand, all right? So you know from where that product is coming from, that becomes a brand, right? This is very important. Market is not a physical place, right? You must remember this. This is very, very important. Market is not a physical place where you buy things, right? It is where it is a group, it is a potential consumers are market, are called market, right? It's not care market, right? It's not chickpea. It's not the Malaysian market, right? It is market. When we are talking in marketing about market, it basically means potential consumers, right? And competition is anybody who will take my consumer away from me, right? So for Pepsi, it's not always Coca-Cola. It can be tender coconut too, right? So competition is anybody who's competing for the buyer's sales. Let's say you have 100 rupees and you can eat a dosa or a burger or a pizza. So the competition for pizza is not always from pizza, right? So it can be from the rival offering or from the substitute company also, right? So marketing channels are the places where I reach to my consumer and make the consumer get the product, right? Now, I think I've been a little slow. Let me speed up. Now, we have a few approaches to marketing. This is the basic, let's say how marketing is done by various organizations or various concepts also, you can say, right? We have something called as a production concept. Now, the production concept is where the consumers prefer the product which is widely available, right? But production concept is where the organization is completely focused on just production, production, production. This is a part of entrepreneurial course, right? Imagine you are only developing a product and you are only consumed about how cheap you can produce, how more you can produce. So you have shifted your mind from the consumer and you've shifted it towards what? Production. You want to make more, you want to make it quicker, you want to make it at a shorter period or a lesser cost. So your focus has moved from what the consumer wants to making it available, right? So organizations who believe in production concept basically think consumer will come and buy if it is available and if it's cheap, right? That's not always the case, right? Many organizations have failed because they have followed the production concept. Production concept succeeds only if you do not have many competition, right? I don't know if you guys know there was a car called as Ambassador. It was from Hindustan Motors. They focus only on production concept and they fail because they refuse to see that the consumer needs and wants are changing. Now we have next what we call as a product concept, right? Now the product concept is where, again, if you are getting into being an entrepreneur, you must understand it's not only about your product. A lot of times, what innovators do is they innovate something and they get consumed with their own innovation. They try to improve the product. That's about it. They do not care if the consumer wants it. I don't know if you guys know, when a couple of years back, mobile phones came with flipping thing, like open and close, right? And it was not actually adding any value, right? Mobile phones came with a projector. It was not actually required by 99% of the consumer. But they kept on trying to add a new feature to the mobile phone. They were trying to make the product better and better and different without thinking, does the consumer want, right? So production concept is where you think, basically you think that the consumer will buy only if the product is made with a better quality, of a better performance and innovative features. But here you're losing your focus from the consumer and you're moving it towards the product. These are the mistakes that you will be doing. A lot of times, entrepreneurs or organizations follow selling concept. Selling concept is where consumers will not buy unless they're forced to buy. You know, a lot of times you get these telecalls and you're standing at some place and one guy is trying to sell you books, because a consumer will never go and buy on his own. He has to be forced. So that's a selling concept. Selling concept is followed by very few industries. And here they are just selling, they're keeping their entire organization running on their selling skills than the product or than on what the consumer wants, right? Now, marketing concept, all right? Marketing concept is where the consumer comes in. Now, you are basically trying to understand what the consumer wants. That's your target market. What does he really want? And you start developing a product and you cater that product to the consumer. Consumer is happy and you make profits. So where does it start? Where does marketing concept start and end? It starts with the consumer and it ends with the organization, right? The other concepts are all starting with the production or with the product or with the selling. But marketing concept starts with, who is my target market? What does he want? How can I meet his needs? And then how do I make my profits, right? So marketing concept is what most organizations aim to follow and one of the better concepts. But what is societal marketing concept? We are trying to bring in society into picture, right? Here, let's say you are selling a soap, all right? Now, the consumer wants a soap. You understand what kind of consumer, who is your consumer, what kind of product he wants, and you're marketing it, all that done, right? But that soap is not dissolving into this, I mean, it's not biodegradable, right? So it's harming the environment. See, you're meeting your customers' needs, you're meeting your organizational needs. But what happens after the soap is washed off? It gets into the environment, all right? And it's harming the soil, it's harming the water bodies, it's harming the vegetation, right? So once, it's not only about my consumer, it's not only about me as an organization making money, But aftermath, what happens? How am I keeping the society safe? That societal marketing concept. Most organizations are investing themselves into getting into societal marketing concepts today, right? So whatever your product is, whatever you guys plan to do in your future, understand what is the aftermath? How is your business organization's existence, your products affecting? It should be a positive contribution and not a negative contribution towards a society's well-being, right? So those are the concepts. Now, we have spoken about what is marketing, what can be marketed, and whom do we market to, and we have also spoken about the various concepts of marketing, that is need, want, demand, product, brand, market, all that. And then we have spoken about, we have discussed about the various approaches to marketing, right? The product concept, the production concept, selling concept, marketing concept, and the societal marketing concept. Now, we move on to what we call as STP, right? This is not your sewage treatment plant. This is segmentation, targeting, and positioning, right? Now, what do we mean by segmentation? Segmentation, when we were kids, we had one or two brands, right? I think we had just Colgate and maybe one another brand, right? So there's not much choice. The rich people bought one, the poor people bought one more. That's about it, right? But then, even when it came to shampoo, we did not have shampoo. We had only Shilpakar. And then shampoos came into picture, and we had just one brand. That's about it, Sunsilk. Nothing else. No other brands existed. So there's not much of segmentation needed then. So the entire segmentation was about just one segment. Everybody needed shampoo, and we had this shampoo. That's about it. But then more and more companies started coming into the same segment, right? So they had to, when it came to cars, we had Maruti. We had no other car, right? So rich people bought one, poor people bought one more of the same Maruti. So what happens here is that there's not much segmentation there. But when more companies get into the same product range, we have way too many products available. Today, you go to toothpaste section, there are at least 15. Go to shampoo section, there are 30. We go to soaps, there are 40, right? So each one is trying to cater to a specific segment. Let's see what segmentation is. Now, segmentation basically is grouping of consumers, right? Let's say, take toothpaste. We have 1 million customers, right? So everybody has teeth. So everybody brushes their teeth. So that's my market, right? But there are 100 companies selling toothpaste. So what they do is they try to group consumers based on certain characteristics, right? I'll not be getting into those, though I have those in my slide. Now, they be starting grouping consumers. So if everybody says, if Colgate is selling to everyone, Pepsodent is selling to everyone, if some other brand is selling to everyone, they are spending a lot of money on everyone, but everyone can't buy all the 3 brands, right? So what companies start doing is they start profiling consumers. They start grouping consumers into different segments. They group them, right? So we can group based on so you can group on age-wise. I can say kids, adults. I can say boys and girls. I can say rich people, poor people. I can say generation, anything, right? I can even do geographic segmentation, right? But when I'm doing for toothpaste, geographical does not matter, gender does not matter, but age may matter, right? So what I will do is I am trying to group consumers into one small segment and say all these people are similar, right? So I'm making one common group and they are different from another group, right? So today, if you see, we have toothpaste for very, very young kids. Have you seen a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old? They have just one teeth or two teeth, right? But they have toothpaste for that, right? I think we have these. Yeah. So these are the kind of toothpaste we have for those kids, right? Now, what I try to do is I am dividing my 1 billion customers into somebody who has sensitive teeth. Like let's say 1 lakh people have sensitive teeth. I group them together. I have one group of people who want teeth whitening. So I develop a different product for them. I have kids who want strong flavors of mint. I group them into one more group. All right. So I segment my consumers into different categories and try to sell different products to them. All right. So segmentation makes marketing a little easier. Right. Makes it helps me understand my consumers better. Right. Take car segment for example. Right. We have small cars. We call them hatchback. Then we have sedans, we have convertibles, we have SUVs, right? So what happens is you can identify a set of people who will want only a small car, all right? It can be based on money. It can be based on, it may be a second car that they're buying, all right? So they want a smaller car. They may live in a place where they don't have a car, congested place, a city center. So they'll be looking for a small car. So I will have to identify my market and divide them into smaller groups and cater, give different types of products to them, right? So that's called as market segmentation. So what's targeting? We have segmentation, we have targeting, and we have positioning. Targeting is, see, I have 1 billion customers. I divide them into, let's say, 10 groups. I'm not going to sell to all the 10 groups. If I'm selling toothpaste, I divide divide it as somebody who has sensitive teeth, somebody who wants teeth whitening, somebody who wants sweet toothpaste, somebody who wants salt toothpaste, somebody who has bad breath, or a kids section, very, very young kids, right? So I will not sell to each one of these. That's a decision I have to take. How many segments do I sell, right? Bigger organizations like Colgate and Pepsodent, they have all segments. But certain small organizations sell to only 1 or 2 groups, right? I don't know if you have seen this Sensodyne. Sensodyne does not sell to everyone. They have chosen sensitive teeth as a category, right? And they have positioned themselves, right? They have chosen a category, they have chosen to target only people with sensitivity. Targeting is when I choose a particular segment, all right? It may be one segment or more segment. So targeting is selecting one or more segments that the company wants to do business in, right? The company wants to satisfy those needs, right? You need not, you can choose all the segments, or you can choose just one or few segments to satisfy. So the choosing is called as targeting. Now, positioning. Any product category that you select, there are 10 companies already there, right? Anything. You take small car, there are 10 companies selling small car. You take SUVs, there are 10 companies selling SUVs. If you take smartphones, there are 10 companies selling smartphones. So even if you have chosen one segment as your target, within that segment also there is competition, right? So you have to position yourself. here also. Positioning is actually in the minds of the consumer, right? So when I say Apple phone, right, the positioning is on technology, right? So I have the latest technology, I have the luxury brand. That's the kind of positioning they have made for themselves, right? So when I pick Sensodyne, they are positioning themselves as more sensitive teeth, right? Or doctors recommended. Actually, that's their positioning. It's always recommend. It's the positioning is that it's recommended by the doctors, right? So positioning is done to highlight a few features or attributes of the product to the consumer. So the consumer thinks this product is known for this, right? Let's say Maruti. Maruti is known for service. You've seen those ads, right? And let's say Volkswagen, it's known for its technology, right? So each organization tries to position itself in that segment, in the target market, that they stand for something, right? Where in the consumer's mind mostly. That's positioning, right? So we have segmentation, targeting, positioning. Segmentation is dividing the market into different groups. Targeting is selecting one or more of that segment. In each segment that you select, that's a target market, so many competition is there. So you position them yourself as that you stand for something in front of your consumers, all right? So that is that is positioning for you. Ma'am, how much more time do I have? I have one more concept to cover.
Ma'am, you can go ahead, ma'am. You have time till 11 o'clock. No problem, ma'am.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, guys, we have done marketing. We have done what product, what can be marketed. We have done whom do we market. We have done approaches. Then we have done STP, that is segmentation, targeting, and positioning. Now we come to what we call as a marketing mix, right? The word basically mix means you're mixing few things together, right? Now, organization needs the next, we'll be discussing what we call as a 4 P's of marketing. Today, we even have 7 P's, 8 P's and the stuff, but we will be focusing on the basic 4 P's of marketing. Now, that is product, price, place, and promotion. The 4 things, the 4 P's, okay, every organization needs, right? So, in the right combination, right? So that's why we call it as a marketing mix. Now, the first mix that we have is called as the product, okay? And the first P is the product. Now, product is anything that can be offered to the market to satisfy a need or a want. Remember, the need or want, the consumer, he is the focus. Satisfying, understanding who your consumer is, understanding what his needs and wants are, and then satisfying it with a product offering. The product can be anything. Remember, it can be a product, it can be a service, it can be entertainment, it can be a person, anything. Now, anything that we offer to the market to satisfy the need and want is called as a product. It can be a pizza, it can be a movie, it can be salt, it can be mobile, it can be a phone, it can be a water bottle, it can be air ticket, okay, commuting, it can be shoes, right? So a product is anything that consumers' needs and wants are met, right? Unless until you meet the consumer's needs and want, the organization will not succeed. We have different levels in a product. Now, let's say you're from Delhi, right? Let's say you're from Delhi and you buy an air ticket and you are coming from Delhi to Padma Shri, right? You buy an air ticket, you go to airport, you sit in the aircraft, nice AC is there, nice seats are there, and they give you a drink, they give you some snacks, you eat it, and then what happens after 1 hour? You get down and go back home. You never came to Padma Shri. The flight never took off. So is that a product? No. Did you buy the air ticket for all those reasons that you enjoy? No. The whole core reason that you purchased that ticket was for commuting, for moving from Delhi to Bangalore. The travel, that's the core product that you bought, right? Everything else is frills and fancies, right? The core product is to commute in an air ticket, right? So organizations must understand what is the core need that the consumer is looking for and satisfy that. Everything else is a value addition. We call that as expected product, we call that as augmented product, right, or potential product. But the core product is the main. Why is an consumer buying a product? To satisfy a need or a want, right? So that's product for you. Now, this is the most important P, all right? Going back to product, guys, product has to be developed by doing market research, by understanding what the consumer wants. By doing market research, you understand what the consumer wants. By doing market research, you understand who are your competitors. By doing market research, you will understand if there is any group of consumer that the competition is not satisfying, right? So the base of developing a product is always market research. Now I have a product ready. Let's say I've done my market research. I know who is my customer. I know what he needs and wants, and I have developed a product for them, right? I can't give it for free because it costs me money, right? And I'm in a business, right? So price, I'll be selling it at a price. So price is actually a value that is exchanged, right? Now we know there is a 10 rupees pen, there is a 3,000 rupees pen, right? And different consumers are ready to pay different prices, right? There is quite a bit of difference between a 10 rupee pen and a 3,000 rupees pen. I agree, right? But certain times, right? It's to do with what the consumer thinks is adding value to him, right? Why do people carry Apple phone? It's a brand value, right? They're ready to pay the price for the brand value, right? So price represents and value means different things to different people, right? For consumers, certain times getting the product on time becomes value. For certain people, the same product lasting for, let's say, 5 years becomes value. For some people, carrying the most fashionable items becomes value. For some people, getting a product at the lowest price becomes value. So the perception of value also varies from person to person, right? But at the end of the day, I am trying to earn some money for the organization, right? So generating revenues for the organization only comes through price, right? That's the only thing that is flowing into the organization. The product is going outside the organization, promotion is going outside, right? So, but what is coming in is the revenue through price setting. So price setting is very, very critical. A lot of times, the base of pricing becomes the cost that you've incurred in developing the product or the service, plus a profit margin, right? Certain times, how you set the prices, the base cost, that is the cost of producing the product, and plus a profit margin, keeping in mind what the consumer is ready to pay. Sometimes you have to keep in mind at what level is the competitor also selling, right? So price is very, very critical, very important. But yes, if you've seen, price keeps fluctuating, price keeps changing. Products don't change. The price of the products keep changing. So price is one of the most flexible things in the marketing mix, and you can keep playing with price and you can keep increasing, reducing it, giving discounts, giving price offs, buy one, get one free, all that you can do in price. It's pretty flexible, but very crucial because your entire organization is dependent upon the money you earn through pricing. Now we have place. When we say place, it basically means moving a product from place of production and ensuring the right customer gets it at the right time, at the right place, at the right quantity. What do I mean by this? A factory develops 100, 100 TVs a day. Is a consumer going to buy 100 TVs? No, he's going to buy one. So it has to be in the right quantity. The factory is in Gurgaon, but the consumer is buying it in Bangalore through Reliance Electronics. So he's not going to the factory. So I have to make it available at the right place. A lot of people buy the TVs during Diwali. So it has to be made available at the right time, right? So getting the product reach the consumer, right? Right product, right place, right time. Making it available to the consumer is what place is all about. We are talking about distribution, right? When we talk about place, we're talking about distribution. Here we have wholesalers, we have distributors, we have retailers, we have agents, we have people working on commissions, we have these dealers, right? Toyota manufactures in Bidadi, but they don't take care of any of the selling part. They give it to dealers, right? You would have seen on Mysore Road, there are a few dealers. So these dealers will in turn sell it to us. Toyota will send the product, their cars to Delhi, and the dealer there will take care. That's their distribution system. That's how they make their product available to the consumer, right? So each company has a different distribution network, right? Let's take salt. Toyota, if you want to buy, there are probably 10 distributors in Bangalore. But if you want to buy Tata Salt, you'll probably have 100 stores or Kirana stores selling Tata Salt in just one small area, right? So distribution of different products is done differently, right? How mobiles are sold and how tea powder is sold is different, right? Meaning place, how the distribution network is done is different, right? So we have done product, we have done price, we have done place. Now we have promotion, very important. Promotion is basically communication, marketing communication. It's not enough that you have a product. Okay, it's not enough that you develop a product. It's not enough that you have set a price, and you keep it in the store also. Unless and until you promote your product or service, people won't know you exist. People won't know that. And even if Tata's come out with a new product, no, Tata is such a huge brand, a huge company. They have huge network. Unless and until they go out and tell people in the newspaper, in the radio, in the magazines, or personal selling, if they don't tell, consumers will not know that a new product has been launched by Tata, right? So promotion is getting the consumer to be, let's say, you're informing him that you have launched a new product, right? You inform him, you attract him, you persuade him, meaning you make him want to buy that product, right? Have you seen a Coca-Cola ad during summers? All that ad is, they have a cold glass and they take a Pepsi, they open it, then you can hear the sound, you can hear the fizz, and then there are ice cubes in the glass and they just pour it, right? And you can hear the fizz also. That's just the plain ad. So what they're doing there is they are persuading, they're influencing you to buy the product, right? So you basically keep reminding consumers. Have you seen IPL ads, either the Coke or the Pepsis or the World Cup? During the World Cup, there are a lot of advertisements that's happening. Either the Coke takes up the entire advertisement deal or Pepsi, and they keep repeating the ads. What are they doing? They're doing they're reminding the consumer. The more you play the ads, the more the consumer remembers the ad, and the more when he goes to the shop, he'll ask for the brand, right? We have something called as a promotion mix here, that is advertising, public relations. I've written that twice, sorry. Sales promotion, that should be sales promotion, personal selling, and direct marketing, right? Advertising we do on TV, magazines, or hoardings and stuff. Personal selling, when you're buying Toyota, you go to that dealer, right? And the dealer explains the product to you, right? That's personal selling. I was earlier giving you an example where Infosys will buying 50,000 laptops. They won't see an ad and buy 50,000 laptops. Your own salespeople will have to go there to their office, take appointments, meet the purchase manager and the technical manager and sell it to them. So that's called as personal selling, right? What's direct marketing? Direct marketing is you've seen in your Facebook. Let's say you guys go to myntra.com, you select the shoes that you like, put it in cart. Don't buy it, all right? You just put it in cart and then close that website and then come out. The next time you open your Facebook or Instagram, you'll get ad of that same product. That's direct marketing, right? The telecalling that they do this, they know you have an account with HDFC, they know you have a loan and they ask you if you want to transfer that loan. That's direct marketing, right? So direct marketing is where they have certain information about you that you may be a potential customer and they try to market to. That's direct marketing. So we have covered the marketing mix, 4 P's, that is product, price, place, promotion, right? There are 7 P's and 8 P's today. So the 7 P's usually is a services marketing mix, that is your people, process, and physical evidence, which we are not going in depth in this session. Okay. I am come to the end of my session. There are various new things that keeps happening in marketing. Today we have digital marketing, marketing on search engines that we call as search engine optimization. We have social media marketing, where marketing is happening via Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Okay. We have digital marketing too, where you get personalized mobile ads, right? Or through WhatsApp, right? So these social media and digital platforms are very cheap, and you can reach a very specific target market. So let's say if I launch a health drink tomorrow, I can approach Google and say, if anybody is looking for helping, if they Google health anything or healthy recipe or something, put my ad there, right? Or I can approach Facebook and say, whoever is likes, follows healthy habits like gym or aerobics or those kind of sites, promote my product there, right? So it's very targeted, it's very specific, very effective. And the future lies in these platforms because you and at least we are very new to digital marketing. Your generation is exposed. Remember, you will be marketing to somebody who is 10 years old today, right? Meaning by the time you reach your, let's say 5-6 years from now, you're in a job or you're selling your own product, you will be catering to kids who are grown up with using mobile phones. Today you can see a 2-year-old use mobile phone very swiftly than your mother, right? So those are the future consumers. The future is in digital marketing, right? So, and for entrepreneurs, I see many entrepreneurs turning to social media platforms because they're free and it's pretty effective. The whole point of digital marketing is to be consistent, right? And for those who want to learn about digital marketing, it's, it's all free on internet. Google has its own courses free, of course. LinkedIn has its own free courses, right? So if you want to learn, it's out there. It's for you to reach out and play those videos and learn by yourselves, right? Next is green marketing. Everybody is trying to go green, every organization, because the consumer is fuming upon organizations who are not sensitive towards the environmental issues today. So if you are getting into developing your own product, develop a product which is safe for the environment, right? So focus on green marketing too. So various numerous other new things are happening. The whole point of how do you become successful in marketing is you have learned what you have to learn in the textbook, but you have to get very, very creative at each and every step of your marketing. The more you do very creative, the more chances are that you will grab the customer's attention, right? So, and that's marketing. Getting the consumer's attention is marketing, right? Thank you, guys. I've come to the end of my session.
Thank
If
you
you
very
have
much, Rajani ma'am. Thank you very much for
anybody has questions, I'm open.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much, Rajani ma'am, for effectively explaining various aspects and concepts of marketing. Thank you very much once again. Now the
Welcome.
session is open for questions and queries. Any questions from the participants? Any questions?
Hello,
Yes.
ma'am. You're not.
You hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Any questions, participants? I believe there are no questions. So on behalf of Padma Shri Institute of Management and Sciences, I thank our resource person, Mrs. Rajani Balaji, for her effective talk on various aspects and concepts of marketing management. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is a reminder regarding the evening session. The evening session is on women entrepreneurship challenges, and the resource person would be Aarti Nimekar. Indu ma'am, what is the timing for today's evening session?
It is evening 5:30, right? 5, I think, 5 p.m.
Okay, let me check once, ma'am, before confirming the time.
Yeah.
Ma'am, there is a question here from one of the participants. It is like, what is your advice to young entrepreneurs? Rajni, ma'am?
Okay. My advice to young entrepreneurs is to be very driven, very focused, and consistent. You're not going to see results quick, right? Do not fantasize about quick returns, right? Any business that you start off, right? Keep the consumer in mind, as I been telling over and again. Keep the consumer in mind. Whom are you developing the product for, right? And what do they want? And who else is catering to that need? Is there any competition that is actually delivering? Then how are you any different? Right? These are the questions you will have to ask yourself. And you have to try to meet that consumer's need with better than your competition, right? At a lesser cost than your competition or quicker than your competition. Or if the competition is not meeting that need, then it's good for you. Then you have to understand that niche area for yourself, right? And once you have that product out there, be consistent, right? You're not going to see results very quickly. So to have that time period where you give yourself a good lead time, right? You're going to see results after 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, right? But be persistent towards it, towards your goal. I hope I've answered some elements of your question, Prabhu.
Ma'am, I have a question, ma'am.
Yes.
With respect to new entrepreneurs, like it depends. Marketing sometimes is an expensive affair, right, ma'am? So how do they go about with marketing? How do they do cost cutting in terms of marketing, ma'am?
Ma'am, today many entrepreneurs are turning to social media. Social
Okay.
media channels are free
Okay, ma'am.
and developing, and it definitely depends upon the product, the industry, and stuff. But many entrepreneurs today, are the smaller ones, are turning to social media to reach to consumers, to a niche area, especially, right? I know a person who is developing shoes. This existed, this segment existed. They're developing shoes for Jains, right? Who believe in not they do not wear leather, right? Because it's harmed animals, right? So he's created a specific niche like that. There were shoes which were not using leather, but he has um, uh, matched the product and the consumer need. And how is he doing it? He's doing it only on social media. Today, very small setups are there. One or two people are there in an organization, and they are doing through developing a brochure. You can do it through an app. Putting out that brochure and reaching to consumers, you can do through social media. You can get influencers. Numerous influencers are there. Take it food, take it automobile, take it clothes, even if you are, it's an idea, there are many social media influencers who will help you to get to the next level, right? Again, key is to be consistent and not lose out hope, right? So it pays, but it pays for somebody who's consistently performing. Social media is very reasonable for somebody who is um, getting into a new business now.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Participants, there is this link for you to give your feedback, and I request the participants to kindly provide your valuable feedback for today's session. So today's evening session is at 5:30 p.m. I request the participants to kindly click on the link and provide the feedback. Indu ma'am, should I wrap it up? I believe Indu ma'am has some internet issues. Okay, once again, I'd like to thank Rajani
Yes,
ma'am
you
for
can
her time.
conclude. Yeah.
Can I wrap it up, ma'am?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Once again, on behalf of Padma Shri Institute of Management and Sciences, I'd like to wholeheartedly thank our resource person, Mrs. Rajani Balaji. Thank you very much, ma'am, for your time and for your effective talk. Thank you very much once again. And I would also like to thank all the participants for being part of this webinar, today's session of the webinar. Have a great day. Thank you very much, one and all. Ma'am, I'm leaving, ma'am.